Hey there, folks. So, last episode we got our Chronomanager set up. It's running a little slow because it's being typical janky. Editor doesn't want to. Oh, there we go. Yeah, so last episode we got our Chronomanager up, and we do actually have our time of day, month, and year progressing through. This episode I'm going to start working on getting the actual rotation of the sun effect in game. So I'm going to stop this, and we don't actually need to be in the editor for now, so I'm going to close out of that. And I had launched the editor outside of Visual Studio. So now there is a couple of different ways you could go about this. You could, if you weren't looking at having changes to the sun's elevation over the course of the year and things like that, which is actually what I'm looking at doing, you could just add it in a simple fixed rotation pattern. But because I'm looking at adding in over the course of the year, I want the sun to be a little lower in the sky than like in the winter and higher in the sky in the summer. So it does require some additional stuff there. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a float curve to use that. So first thing we need to do, though, is we do need to actually have a reference to our directional light. So I'm just going to grab that information from don't need save game, but I'm going to grab it from this one. Visible anywhere? Do we want visible or edit? Edit. No, because we need to assign it. We need the edit anywhere. So I'm going to come down here. I'm actually going to change this from chrono time to chrono lighting. And then we want class. Oh, what are these? A directional light. Sunlight. And then, as I mentioned, we're going to want a couple of other things there. We're going to want an intensity curve. And these are class U curve float pointer sun intensity. Daily sun intensity. And we're going to want the same thing again here. And this one is annual light intensity adjustment. So just quickly what these two are is obviously we do have our sunlight, and that is a directional light actor from the game world or from your world. Daily sun intensity is just a generic 24-hour representation of the sunlight. So you'll have like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because that's the generic, where from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. it gets brighter and then gets darker. From 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. it's going to be 0. But then you have your annual and I can't spell annual. Oh, my spelling sucks. Let me just pull that up here quick. Is it the blend? Annual? Yeah. Annual sun intensity. I'm not even going to use adjustment. I'm just going to use annual sun intensity. So anyways, daily sun intensity is just generic 24-hour period. Annual sun intensity will be things like, northern hemisphere, obviously for myself, it's going to be like May through August. It's going to have a higher intensity, and then like you can use that to adjust for your like shorter days in the winter, longer days in the summer, things like that. Now there's another one we need. I'm just going to grab this from here. We need class Actually, I'm going to, no, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to change these right now. U curve linear color. Yeah, as Canadian, that's the wrong spelling of color, but I have to deal with it. Sunlight rotation. Daily sun. Actually, I'm going to get rid of that. And then we need another variant of this. Copy all of that. And annual sun rotation. So this one here is, why did that not want to save? Let me guess. Windows Defender is on again. No? There we go. I must have been parsing something. But anyway, so these two here, actually I'm going to Pragma region lighting. Pragma end region. Pragma region. TOD, time of day. Pragma end region. Alright, just so I can minimize, we'll collapse these once I minimize. Okay, so anyways, we've got our, obviously our directional or light reference, our daily sun intensity, our annual sun intensity, and then we have our daily sun rotation, and that's going to be like the east to west rotation, and then your annual sun rotation is going to be the adjustment for, again, in the winter months it's lower in the sky, in the summer months it's higher in the sky. Now we do also need a skylight reference. Let me just grab these. Class a skylight. A, I can't spell it, and B, I think. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's it. We'll be fixing that once I do the includes if that's wrong. And then we also want a U-curve float pointer for skylight intensity. Now there is another one. I'm not going to be adding it in this episode. We have these linear colors here. The only reason we're using a linear color is it is a vector 4. Gives us the XYZ and unused fourth for the alpha, which you could, if, and I might do that depending when it comes to some refactoring, I might actually bundle that in, use the alpha for our daily intensity. I'll have to think about that one because fewer bits of information, but either way. Anyways, where I was going with that is there is also the potential for changing your light color. So it's hotter, warmer color in the summer, cooler color in the winter. Again, I do plan on that. It's just not something I'm going to be doing right now. My main focus is getting this portion of it updated. So now there is a couple of things we also need to include for this, obviously. And with that specifically, we're talking some additional functions. So let's take a look here. Okay, so down here in our function section, we're going to do a void update lighting and a void update light rotation. And this one we need a float delta time. Actually, that's a const float delta time, const float reference delta time. And just close that out. And we're just going to create these definitions. Okay. Sorry, I was just looking at my notes for these because this is, again, code I've written previously. However, I want to refactor it because it wasn't the best. So the first thing we're going to do when we're updating the lighting, we need to check if our sunlight is valid. So if is valid, actually we want this to be a negative, so if it's not valid, sunlight, we're just going to return. Honestly, we also want to do log error for missing light. Now, this is where we see we have a missing include. Okay, and then, so we'll start adding these. So it's include engine, directionally, yep. Include engine, skylight. Oh, if I could spell include properly, include engine skylight. Oh, and then curves are in their own folder, so include curves, curves, float curve, and include curve, and then that is a color, linear color, I believe is the one. Yeah, curve linear color. And I think we actually need the component references for skylight and directional. Include component. Directional. Include component sky. Okay, I'm not 100% sure if those two need to be included, so I'm going to comment them out. If we get some errors, then obviously we know we need them. Alright, so anyways, down here in our update lighting, we have, if the skylight isn't valid, we're just going to drop out. We don't want to do any logic. We want to log an error, though, just to say we're missing a skylight. So then we want float. Oh, I'm trying to remember what this is. Light intensity, new intensity. New light. See, and this is one of the reasons why I want to refactor. My old code has very unfriendly reference or names. So, and this equals sunlight, sun intensity, daily sun intensity. What did I call that? Daily sun intensity. Yeah. Daily sun intensity. Get float value, and then we need to have a. I'm just going to put that there for purpose of this. We need to have a way to get what our current time of day is. So, first of all, we don't want to be doing that as part of this function. We want that to be its own function. So, void update time of day. And we want to actually have a way to store that locally. So, float current time of day equals, we'll just say 0. Now this is going to be a value of, I'm trying to think what we use that for. Bear with me 1 second here. I'm going to look at my notes again. Okay, there we go. So current. Did I already define that current time? Oh no, that's our yeah. So the whole purpose of this, sorry, just to clarify, current time of day is a float versus our current time, which is our time struct, is it gives us a float value that we can have in a range from 0 to whatever we need it to be. So over here, current time of day equals time of day, sorry, current, I need to do this in BODMAS, I think, yeah. Current time dot hour times 60 plus current time dot minute. And what this is doing is, this is what, 1440? Actually, my brain does not want to work. Okay, so we have 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours in a day. Yeah, so that's going to give us a value from 0 to 1439. Actually, no, 1440. Oh, yeah, 1439. And that is going to be used to get the position on all of these curves. The curves are going to have a range from 0 to 1440. So now we do need to call this, though. So update time of day, we are going to actually put in our tick function. If I'm going to put this down here, though. What is our Boolean reference for this? It's been a couple of days since I worked on anything. So if we're not using our day-night cycle, we don't need to do any of the below logic. If we do, we want to do this. So we're going to update the time. Update time of day. These two, I know, slightly confusing, but it's what it is. I'm probably gonna go here. Actually, real easy. Update time of day ref. Preview should update in 3 places. Definition, the use, and declaration. Yeah. Okay. So that just changed that for what we need here. So, anyways, so now we want to use our float value here, current time of day. So we're going to copy that. And we're going to paste that in here to our daily sun intensity. Okay, so now, again, just to work through this, what this is doing is we're using our float curve to get our daily sun intensity. We need to adjust that by our annual sun intensity. So what we're going to do here is new light intensity minus equals annual sun intensity get float value current time dot month. Now actually no, we want that to be a value, and that's minute, but we want that as a value from 0 to 365. So let's add a function to void get day of year. Nope, and we want that to be a float constant. No, it can be an int. I'm trying to think. Actually, no, I am going to adjust our time of day struct. And it's going to be up here, int day of year equals 0. And then, actually I need to do the math here. So I'm just going to pause the video quickly. I need to do the math to get what my original set is going to be here. So, I know, because with that we're going to want a function. I'm trying to think how to do this. Do I want to add a function that keeps this totaled? Yeah, because if we have an advancements, we're going to need a way to quickly reset that. So back here, we're going to void set day of year. Time dot day of year equals, I'm going to put 0 for there now. Okay, I'm just trying to think of some math here. So just do this roughly to start with. Current time dot month times 30. That gives us a very basic value. Oh, there's got to be a helper function for this that already exists. I'm just trying to think how I want to do this. So first, and then I'm going to grab that, throw that in here. Actually, I'm going to do this. We don't need this to be all over the place. Yeah, and this is sort of the stuff I have to sit and think about. Though numbers are fairly good for me, like I can work with them pretty easily. 8 there already. I don't need that one. I just want to make sure I'm doing the math correctly with these. Case 11. Okay. So this will just be current time dot day of year equals current time dot day. I'm just going to do this. I need to go through and add the breaks to these obviously as well. This is just to get the basic stuff done. So this one is a break. Okay, so January is a 31. And then have year plus equals, and then what we want here is our modulo that we already used to work out our leap year. And if it is a modulo, we want it to be plus equal 29. Otherwise, we want it to be plus equal 28. And like I said, there's going to be a much better way for doing this. This is just an initial quick gray box code. So this is the... I'm just trying to think, do we want these... I'm going to put these in reverse order, and then there'll be a better way for this. So let's just quickly, and I'll explain once I get these done. So I'm just going to pause the video for the sake of time, just while I literally reverse these around. So it's 12 at the top, 1 at the bottom. Okay, so I got these switched around quickly, and I will just explain. The reason for this is, again, as I've mentioned previous episodes, with fall through. So we don't need this. I'm just going to get rid of all of these other than the very last one for case 1. So, oh, I want to grab that one and put that in case 3. Okay, so what we are doing is if we're on the 12th month, December, we are going to just be adding in the number of days in November. So that's 30 days in November. And then we have 31 days here. Now we can also, I don't want to, okay, August has 31, July has 31, and then, oh, these are 31, not 30. January's, don't have to worry about. February we've got there. February we only want to add 31. So January's 31. That one's a unique one. January, February, March, so that would be there. And there. And then the rest are 30s. So I know this may seem a little confusing. Let me just finish this off and we'll cover what that, I'll explain what this is doing. So again, using the built-in fall-through logic of a switch statement, if we come in and the current month is January, all we're going to do is add whatever the current date is. Now, because this value represents the day of the month we are in, if we're in February, the second month, we're going to come in here. It's going to, okay, we'll add the 31 days for January, and then we're going to add however many days in the month it is. If it's March, we're going to add in however many days there are in February, the days in January, and then current day of the month, and so on and so forth. So this, again, is not going to be the best method, but it is a method. And what we're going to do here, I'm going to call set day of year as part of our advanced day logic. Okay, so we've got that, and I realize that was a long roundabout way to do that, but then we want current time dot day of year. We're going to use that here. So no, we don't want this to be, we want to keep all of these as positives, so that in the summer we want to be increasing our above average, and in the winter we want to be decreasing. So when you minus a minus, it becomes a positive, so it would be an inverted. Anyways, so very long roundabout way to now get the sun intensity. Actually, we need to add some additional ones in here. If it's not is valid daily, or if it's not is valid annual. So just quickly to explain why we've thrown those in. So if the sunlight itself isn't valid, it means we don't have a reference to it. We're not going to be doing anything. If we don't have our daily sun intensity, again, we don't want to be doing anything because this is all updating the lighting. And if we don't have our annual intensity, we don't want to be doing anything because we don't want, well, we don't have a sunlight actor to, or we don't have the information we need for these additional logic points down the bottom to function. So, just looking at my, okay, so this is one, again, that I wanted to, I had in my previous iteration that I need to, and I'm going to fix all these tooltips, don't worry. Float max sun intensity. The reason for this is I found that with some of this is it could hit, actually I'm going to set that to 10. It could hit a point where things were getting a little blown out in the brightness, and I wanted to add a max. Yes, you can do that through post-processing, but I try to limit my post-processing volumes as much as possible because they are pretty resource intensive. So I'll just put that as 0, 10.0. So the reason for that is now we want new light intensity equals fmath clamp. We obviously don't want it going below 0, and max sun intensity. No, sorry, it's intensity, but I missed the fact that it's right here. It's new light intensity. I missed adding that in. All right, so now we want to go sunlight dot get light component, and that's going to say it's an incomplete. Nope, that worked. And then intense. Okay, yeah, so we do need these, so that's what we needed those for. So grab those. Intensity equals new light intensity. Now, this is also where you would want to, as I mentioned towards the start there, change your color of your light. Again, because I'm not doing that right now, that is something we'll come back to at a later point in the series if I decide to do that. Now, much like when we had our rendering, this one does have a function we need to call to update things. So it is sunlight, get light component, update color and brightness. Yeah. And what this is going to do is it updates the intensity, the color, everything like that, and forces it to be re-rendered. So this is actually a very basic initial setup for the directional light. Now, I'm going to skip it for now, just because the skylight is something I want to cover in a different episode, but this is where to do, you'd want to add in the skylight. Skylight updates. So, and now that we've got that part done, we're going to want to look at our update light rotation. So, we're going to want something similar to this. We're going to change these two references though. So, why did I just not copy all of it? And these are the rotations. Daily sun rotation. And our annual sun rotation. Now, with that, so if those are valid, then we've got F linear color. Again, this is because we're using a color curve to get the XYZ, and then rotation, sorry, and then we have a unused alpha channel there, but F linear color, sun new rotation equals daily sun rotation. Sorry, I was just sitting there thinking which one. Get unadjusted linear color value. Get unadjusted linear color value, and then that we want to use current time of day. Again, this is our 24-hour period, and then we're going to make the adjustments based on the annual period. And actually, I'm going to change this because if is valid, I want to change this slightly. Because I was just thinking, well, I do hope to include modding support further down the line. And I don't want to enforce the annual. So I'm going to say if we do have it, we're going to apply it. If we don't have it, we're going to skip it. So if is valid annual sun rotation. Let's get rid of that little bit there. And then this is going to be pretty much the same thing. New rotation plus equals annual sun rotation, get unadjusted linear color value, and that is current time dot day of year. Okay, and then we are just going to be making a rotator. If rotator new rot equals new rotation. Actually, no, I want to change this. Color as rotation. Get rid of that extra N. Color as rotation. Now, I did some experimenting with this in my previous attempt. And one, you need your order to be your Y rotation, Z rotation, X rotation. And to do that, you want it .G, your green channel, your blue channel, your red channel. And then it is sunlight, set actor rotation, new rot. And what have I screwed up there? I don't need the equal. It's constructor, not an assignment. And then, just like with the updating the lighting, you want to update the color and brightness because it will force a re-render. Now we just need to call these two functions. Let's see. I believe that's in our tick function. Yeah, we want to do that as part of tick. So first thing you're going to want to do is update. Actually, no, we don't need. Okay, I'm going to do this. We're going to call. Why did I have delta time in there, actually? I don't think I need delta. No, delta's unneeded here. Sorry, I was just looked. That's, again, one of the things I wanted to clean up that I never did. So let's fix that. Okay, so first thing we're going to want to do is update our rotation. We don't need to add the braces there, brackets. And then we're going to want to update our lighting. And there's a reason why I'm doing it in this order, and that's because, like, I just removed it. If we call update light rotation, we're setting the rotation, then we're going to set its intensity, and then we're only going to update it once. It's a minor amount of efficiency, but it's still something that is a little more efficient than calling it here, and then at the same time within the same frame, calling it again. Because you have to remember, tick fires off every frame. So I believe, let me just take a look at my notes for this actually. Obviously we're going to want to make sure we include our save stuff. That will be done in another episode. We've got day length calculation, we're updating that. Yeah, so that is everything we need here. So what I am going to do is I'm going to pause the video for now. I'm going to run, obviously get the editor built, or the project built, and I'm also going to copy over some pre-existing curves I have, just simply because it took me forever to get even values that looked remotely correct. And once that's done, I will be back. So, see you shortly. Alright folks, I'm back now. I've gone through and I've set up some of, well, I built the engine as I mentioned and pulled over the annual sun intensity and my daily sun rotation. As you can see here, this is the reason why I wanted to pull over my pre-existing stuff. My daily intensity though, I thought, well, I'll actually go through and I'll set up one of these with you guys. So we want to start with two values. Come on, which key is it? Middle mouse button on its own, that's why I was holding shift. So we want to start with our first key at 0, 0 and our last key at what's this one? This is the daily sun intensity. What did we work that out as? What we were calling to get that day, current time of day, which is that 1440. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure I had the right value there. So we're going to pull up the daily sun intensity. We're going to click on our last value, and we want to set the final key to 1440. And then where is the there's trying to get the snap to view. Where is it? Normalize view mode, is that it? Yeah. Well, apparently I'd actually already had all these in there, so we have an extra key we don't need. And get rid of that one. So we're just going to go through and make sure our keys are set. I thought I didn't port this over. Apparently I did. I just had my view too far out. So, however, I'm going to go through that with you. So, as I said, you middle click. And the easiest way is, I'll just pull up a calculator. You work out roughly what time you want your sun to start rising. So we're going to say it's 6 a.m. Well, we're going to times that by 60. So, 360. So, we'll go to this one here. What's actually the 300? I'm starting it at 5 a.m. in this case. But you'd set it at 5 a.m. You keep that as 0 because there is no light. Then when you want your light to peak out, we have that set to 660. That's 11 o'clock. I'm actually changing that to 690. And I'll just show you that. Let's pull that up. So 11 a.m. times 60 minutes. 660 plus 30, it's 1130 we peak, and then at I keep closing the calculator instead of minimizing it. We have 1020. We're going to divide that by 60. 17, that's 5 o'clock at night is we start lowering our intensity, and that goes through until 1290. And again, I closed it. Why do I keep doing that? So we're 1290 divided by 60. That is 9:30 at night. I'm actually going to bump that to 1320 because I want that at 10 o'clock. So, and then we have our last one at 1320, and then we have, sorry, the last light value at 1320, and then we have a second one at 1440 with a value of 0. Again, that is to make sure we've got a flat point between these, and it'll jump back around and go from there. So I'm going to save this, close out of these, we don't need it. And just for reference, I have set up in the project folder, I have a data folder, curves. I might further organize these into a subfolder, but I have those three there. Now I don't have an annual sun rotation yet because I never actually worked that one out. First of all, here we're going to find Chrono. We are going to minimize our time section and expand our lighting. we are going to select a directional light. And actually, before we go in there, we're going to go directional, select that in our scene, and we want to make sure it is movable, which it is, thankfully. And then back to our Chronomanager. So daily sun intensity, we're just going to drag that one over. Annual sun intensity, we're going to drag that one over. And daily sun rotation, we're going to drag that over. We don't have a skylight, we don't have skylight intensity, and we have a max value for our sun intensity of 10, and that is purely to stop blowout from the light source. So I'm just going to go to directional light, and as you can see, that is this value here, lux. So I'm going to hop back into Visual Studio quickly. As you can see, I am running from Visual Studio. I'm going to throw a breakpoint on our update lighting, and I'm also going to throw a breakpoint on our update light rotation. I'm going to hop back into the editor here. I'm going to hit play. We should actually hit this right away. So we have our update lighting. So is our sunlight valid? Yes. Is our daily sun rotation valid? Yes. So we're going to drop down. Right now, we're going to step over that, and you can see we have a value of 8, minus 44, and 14. Now that's obviously rough. So we don't have a sun rotation, so it's annual sun rotation, so it's not valid, so we're going to skip that. We created our new rotator and we set actor rotation. Well, now we hit our update lighting. Sunlight is valid, sun intensity is valid. So our new intensity value, which we apparently can't see, but our current time of day we've worked out as 7:21. Annual sun intensity is valid. You can see our new intensity value is 7.5. We're going to clamp that while it's 0 to 10. We're going to update the intensity, and we're going to update the color and brightness. I'm going to just quickly remove these breakpoints now that we've stepped through. Hit continue, we drop back in, and you can see we have, it's not the best, but we have sunlight. And you can see it's roughly pathing through the sky. Again, that's not the best. Also, things aren't darkening enough when the sun is down. So let me just jump out. I think I have a skylight in the scene, that's why. Yeah, there's a skylight in the scene, that's also why. It has an intensity scale of 1, so let's drop that to 0. And this is why you want to include the skylight within your code for this in your process, because the skylight is sort of like your, well, it's not, but it's an ambient light, it's diffused lighting, it can be used to represent a lot of the bounce lighting, so you don't have to worry about really heavy computations on that, adding in a second directional light actor for your moon, things like that. So, but as you can see, we now have a working day-night cycle. It is going incredibly fast, but that is because we currently have our Chronomanager set to like a really insane value here. Let's pull that back. Chrono, what was it? 1/20th. No, 0.5 is half. Yeah, a 20th of a minute. So 1 minute is 5 days, is what that is. So, but with that though, folks, that is where I'm going to end this episode. Next episode, I'm going to continue on with the Chronomanager. I'm going to get the skylight hooked up so that we actually have a somewhat lit night. And then, depending on how long that takes, I may also pull in and make sure our game is saving the rotation as well. So, as always though, folks, any comments, questions, suggestions, concerns, please feel free to leave them in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next episode.